Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Konrad Gorlinski. Today saw the close of the Olympic Games in Tokyo. Many athletes are already on their way home, and Polish athletes are taking back as many as 14 medals. It's their best achievement since the 2000 Games in Sydney, Australia. In total, Poland took home 4 gold, 5 silver, and 5 bronze medals. Poland sent 428 people to the Games, including 211 participants. The Polish team took part in 137 out of 339 events in 28 disciplines. Dawid Tomala took gold in the 50-kilometer walk. Andrejczyk took silver in the javelin throw, and Patryk Dobek won the bronze in the 800-meter race. Once again, Anita Wlodarczyk proved invincible in the hammer throw, taking her 3rd Olympic gold medal. Her teammate Malvina Kopron also took bronze. Poland's men also found success in the hammer throw, with Wojciech Nowicki taking gold and Pawel Fajdek the bronze. Poland's 4x400-meter relay team dazzled at the Olympics with the mixed relay team. Karol Zalewski, Natalia Kaczmarek, Justyna Swiety-Ersetic, and Kajetan Duszynski sprinting away with the gold medal. The women's relay team, Natalia Kaczmarek, Iga Baumgart-Witan, Malgorzata Holub-Kowalik, and Justyna Swiety-Ersetic also ran off with the silver. Sailors Agnieszka Skrzypulec and Jolanta Ogar-Hill took silver in the 470 sailing event. Karolina Naja and and Pulawska won silver in the women's 500-meter kayak doubles. Naja and Pulawska also gained a bronze medal, this time joined by Justyna Iskrzycka and Helena Wisniewska in the women's K4 500-meter competition. Agnieszka Kobus-Zawojska, Marta Wieliczko, Maria Sajdak, and Katarzyna Zilman picked up Poland's first medal, a silver of the Games, in the rowing doubles. And Greco-Roman wrestler Tadeusz Michalik grappled his way to bronze in the 97-kilogram category. In the Olympics medal table, Poland ended the Games in 17th place. 1 year ago, Alexander Lukashenko fixed the results of the presidential election in Belarus. The citizens of the country turned their backs on the dictator and, following the announcement of the falsified results, took to the streets to demand fair elections. The authorities responded with repression comparable only to the terror of Stalinist times and with a hybrid war against neighboring countries Poland, Lithuania, and Ukraine. 1 year on, the authoritarian Alexander Lukashenko remains in power, under Western sanctions but supported by Russia, and the streets have been cleared of demonstrators who demanded freedom and democracy. At least 608 people are behind bars on bogus tax, mass rioting, and other charges. Many others served 10 to 15 days in detention or suffered vicious harassment and threats solely for wearing or using the white, red, and white stripe pattern, singing protest songs, or viewing opposition media on their phones. The authorities jailed at least 27 media workers over their reporting and changed the country's media legislation to make it virtually impossible to report on public protests. At least 17 lawyers have been disbarred in retaliation for speaking out or assisting clients in politically motivated cases. In July, the government moved to purge the country of leading civil society groups. At least 53 independent organizations are already under liquidation procedures, and some of the most prominent Belarusian human rights activists are in jail, awaiting trial on unclear charges. The majority of Belarusians do not support Lukashenko and his generals, despite the unprecedented wave of repression. Judgments are being handed down daily against protesters, so we should not expect further protests. Today, there are 610 political prisoners, and the number is growing by about 15 a week. People gather in the forests where they cannot be traced. They come there with national flags. The leaders are either in prison or in exile. The secret services are checking statements on the internet, camera recordings, and now they have started to conduct searches and pull out people whose mobile phones registered on mobile networks at the sites of last year's protests. The most important thing now is to persevere so that Belarusians can survive the difficult time. On the 9th of August, 1942, German Nazis murdered Edith Stein, a Jewish philosopher turned Catholic nun. The Catholic Church remembers her death every year in the form of a day of prayer for the victims of the Holocaust. Edith Stein died in the gas chamber of the German Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp as Sister Teresa Benedicta of the Cross. Edith Stein, or Saint Teresa Benedicta of the Cross, was born in Wrocław in an observing Jewish family in 1891. Before World War I, she studied under the supervision of William Stern, the creator of the IQ scale, and later under Edmund Husserl, with whom she wrote her doctoral dissertation. She converted to Catholicism after the war, after reading The Life of Saint Teresa of Avila. After the breakout of World War II, the Carmelite order tried to save her by transferring her from Germany to the Netherlands. Unfortunately, the Germans arrested her on the 2nd of August 1942 and deported her to Auschwitz. Her conversion, her encounter with Christ, and her choice to live in a Carmelite convent. The attention is drawn to her heroism of faith in a situation that is difficult to describe and imagine. She was aware that Jesus Christ was indeed the Messiah expected by the Jewish people. The Germans killed Edith Stein on August 9th in one of the first gas chambers in Birkenau, the so-called Red or White House. The victims waited for death in a small forest on the grounds of the camp. Pope John Paul II beatified Teresa Benedicta of the Cross in 1987. 11 years later, she was canonized. This weekend, the Hungarian capital, Budapest, became a meeting place for conservatives not only from Central and Eastern Europe, but also from the USA. Journalist Tucker Carlson of Fox News and Dennis Prager were just a few of the well-known names who took part in a discussion on the direction in which the West is currently heading. The meeting was organized by the Matthias Corvinus Collegium in Esztergom, the former Hungarian capital. Our very own Adam Stajinski joins us live today with some highlights of the meetings. Adam?
Yes, hello.
So what were some of the highlights of the meetings this weekend?
Well, the big star was naturally the host of Fox News, Tucker Carlson Tonight, who was invited and had an entire weekend of his shows being recorded from Hungary. He also had Prime Minister Viktor Orban on as a guest on one of the days. And they also went together to inspect the border fence on the southern border with Serbia. Of course, the Fox host was very impressed by the fact that Hungary, unlike the U.S., has been able to construct such a fence and to keep migrants out, which is something that Viktor Orban promised when he won the previous election, and now he's preparing for his next election that will take place before April next year. So this was all a part of the pre-campaign period leading up to the election.
Yes, for Orban, of course, and the MCC. And what was the MCC trying to achieve with these discussions this weekend?
It's a new institution that is very inspirational. It has received more than 1.5 billion euros in funds. They are forming the new conservative cadres of Hungary. So they invited conservative speakers from across the world for a multi-day event.
Okay, and besides Tucker Carlson and Prager, was there anyone else of note attending the meetings?
Very strong representation from Italy and Spain.
Okay, wow, that's wonderful. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Adam.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
See you back in Warsaw. Take care. That's all for this evening. Thanks very much for tuning in, and have a great week ahead.